Flosstube friends! My name is Lisa. I'm Little Annie Z on Instagram, and this is Little Annie Z and Mama Z. We had a Flosstube video almost a month ago, I guess, with my mom and I. This is my mom and I Flosstube channel, Little Annie Z and Mama Z. And I'm here to talk about some finishes, some WIPs, some collection editions. I have a new hashtag that I started that I wanted to let you all know about. I do a segment on something old and then something helpful, so I want to bring those two things to you today. And I have another segment that I'm bringing in just for this one video that I want to share with you, and that's how I store my linens, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. So I have my notes here. If you see me looking, that's what I'm looking at. I'm in my craft room. I got this new bookcase from Amazon. It was pretty simple to put together. It's sturdy. I wanted something that I can put some seasonal stitches on in my craft room. I've been looking at all of your just your beautiful craft rooms and your organization, and so I've been inspired to have something that I can roll some quilts up. It is fairly skinny and short. I needed something with measurements that would fit in this spot right here behind this futon that I'm sitting on. So let's get started. I'm going to share my finishes with you first. So when I was with my mom, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing all of her amazing sewing that she's doing. If you haven't watched that video, she's into machine embroidery and doing amazing projects, and she shared some patterns and some sources of getting her vinyl and materials that she makes those from. And I thought it was awesome because she does a lot of it on her cutting machine, her Cricut. And I know a lot of you stitchers have Cricuts, and if you want to be inspired by maybe starting a new hobby, you should see what she's doing. She also shared some of her sewing machines that she uses that are really unique. So anyway, let's get started with my FFOs. My first one is a sheep that I sewed. This is, I didn't use a special pattern except Lori Holt's K38 So Simple Shapes from the Prim series. I just traced that and used that as my template and my pattern. I put all of the step-by-step instructions on my Instagram, Little Annie Z. So if you want to go over there and take a look, so you know how I did this. And it's weighted so it stands up. The tip in my instructions, in case you miss it, is I put an oval piece of foam core in the bottom to make a flat stand, you know, something that it could stand on that's flat. So this was super fun to put together. The ears are just made out of felt. I hid my stitching with a piece of felt, and then I put some bird pins that I got at Hobby Lobby to sit on his backside. It looks like the birds landed. So, and just a little jingle bell. Super cute, fun, quick project. And then my next finish was a quilt. It's a mix and match quilt from Lori Holt's, I believe it's the Farm Girl Vintage 2 book. And I did the bright zinnia block and the 2x4 block. For the 2x4 block, I used Jelly Roll, the bee gingham. And then for the bright zinnia blocks, I actually used Lori Holt's method of cutting up your stash and putting them in different boxes for different bins according to size. And that's what I sewed from. This is the border I put on. I used ready-made binding that I got at Hobby Lobby. And then the back is some fabric that I got at Hobby Lobby probably a year ago. And I thought that was cute to back it in. I didn't do much quilting on this, and I'll explain more about that in a little while. But it's the small size, but it's a good throw size. I think it's the crib size. In the book, it's considered the small one, in case you're wanting to do it. So this was super cute, super fun to do, and finish that. And then my last FFO came from this book from Blackbird Designs, In Friendship's Way. And this is the project that I did. I pulled this out remembering that I had, that I wanted to do the projects in here. And when I purchased the unfinished wood box from Michaels, I knew exactly what I wanted to stitch and put on it and use. So when I sit downstairs in my stitchy chair and set up my little nest to start stitching, things kind of fall on the floor. So what I did was I got this box. I didn't pull out the paint to show you because I forgot, but I got it at Hobby Lobby, and it's Colonial Blue Americana Decor Art in chalky finish. And I painted it, and then I took a piece of our unfiltered beeswax and rubbed it on the box after the paint dried, and that's why you see the dark areas and the kind of the yellow areas. So when you get unfiltered wax from the bees, it's got all of the, I mean, it's unfiltered, it's got everything from the hive still attached to it, and then when it melts, it just all, you know, melts together. When they make filtered wax and it comes out that nice bright yellow or white color, they filter all those materials out of the wax. So I use the unfiltered wax to naturally distress my piece. And then this is the finish. I did this on I believe it was 36 count. Let me get and on Instagram, I put everything there when I post a finish and in-process photos for you, so you know exactly what I'm stitching it on. This calls for 35 count parchment. I want to say I stitched this on something larger so that it fit on the box the way I wanted. All the details are on Instagram, and then it escapes me at the moment. But all of the called for over-dyed flosses I used. And I'll bring it a little bit closer. So this is actually a parrot. The pattern mentions that. And we have an African gray parrot that this looks just like. So I put my first and middle name and my year of birth on here. So not only will this hold all the stitchy things that for the project that I'm currently working on, it was my vision for it to open flat to a stitchy tray, and it's narrow enough that it sits on my chair and on my ottoman with all of the flosses, any magnifiers that I have, for instance, my flosses, and then I could put scissors and stuff in here. So it's plenty big. It's exactly what I was envisioning, and it's done. It was a quick project, and I really love it. And that is from In Friendship's Way. It's called Dear August is the pattern name. Okay. And now I want to share my WIPs with you. I'm still working on my Prim Stitch series and my Winter Rose Manor. I'm going to share with you my Prim Stitch series first. And I'm stitching this with the called for Aura Floss threads. I'm stitching it on 25 count prim, which is the called for the series. And I'm currently working on Kindness and Generosity, the number 4. So my goal, I have very loose goals for this and for Winter Rose Manor, because I've been enjoying going back and forth between the two pieces. My goal is to do a square per month, a pattern per month for Prim Stitch. And I had to laugh at a comment from Michelle at Penny's Daughter Shares, because I've been showing just one at a time. I did show my entire work on the last Flosstube, but she made me laugh because she said, "Are you just going to tease us and show us one by one, or will you show us the entire piece?" So Michelle, if you're watching, here you go. So I'll come in a little closer. I love the edge on this. It looks like crochet edging. And I'll just move it across the screen. And you could see I just made a small start on number 4. So I love this. This is so much fun. And I'm ahead of myself for the year. There's 12 blocks, so I figured I would do a block a month. And since I'm ahead of myself, that's where I give myself liberty and to start a smaller project in between, because Winter Rose Manor and Prim Stitch are my only WIPs. So they're large projects and I want to get them done. And so when I'm ahead of myself, that's where I can do other projects like the sheep and the quilt and the stitchy tray that I completed. So that's my Prim Stitch. My other WIP is Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais. You all have seen this. I'm using all of the called for linen and flosses. And in case you don't know, that is Brenda's Brew by R&R. And then there's a mixture of Weeks and General Arts and Classic Colorworks. I am using all of the called for everything. And I love how it's looking. I did change it just a bit. And here's all the flosses that I'm using. So here's my piece. I didn't take it off of my stand, but it is missing the snow, and that's intentional, and the snowflakes. And I added a little key there where some snowflakes would have been. But other than that, I did put my husband and my initials up at the top and our last name initial towards the bottom basket on the gate. I did add some specialty stitches in the bird's wings just to make it a little more interesting, and the wings would stand out a little bit more. But this is really a fun stitch. I'm not gonna lie, I did save the house for last, and so I need to go back and forth between projects because it gets tedious. So I stopped at the 3rd story windows and then worked a little more on some other projects. And then today I plan to get back to this. So that is Winter Rose Manor. Let's see, where do I want to show you next? Let me talk about my new hashtag. I would love for you guys to join me. It's Save the Wall Space FFO. I have very limited wall space, and I want to save my wall space for larger pieces, or even just special pieces that I want to be heirlooms. These pieces that I'm doing here, what I plan to do is finish Winter Rose Manor unframed in a different way, and I can't wait to show you what I have in mind for that. The other FFO, Save the Wall Space FFO, was this for making it a stitchy tray. So I'm trying to get creative in still having beautiful pieces but displaying them in different ways. So what I would love for you to do is join me in that hashtag, so that I can be inspired and see what you're doing. I've seen some amazing things being finished unframed, and I'm inspired. So I wanted to use that hashtag so I can look back and see what everybody else is doing. Okay, now I want to show you my linen organization. Again, I got this term, linen library, watching Michelle, Penny's Daughter Shares, maybe a year ago. I think, Michelle, tell me if I'm wrong, I think her husband came up with the term linen library, and I was like all about that because I love libraries. I used to work in a library, and so I spent some time, a few hours, looking at YouTube on how other people are organizing their linen. I started to organize my linen on that comic board, comic book board, and I've seen people also cutting swatches and maybe putting them in like a recipe box so they know what, just have at hand what linen they have. And I started doing both of those things, and then I stopped because it just got to be too overwhelming for me. So what's working for me is something very simple. It's not glamorous by any means, but I got a basket, plastic basket from Walmart, and I stack my linen in by size, and it's separated out by these just business size envelopes that I write in pencil the count at the top and then the linen underneath in order of the way I have it filed. So when I finish using a linen, I erase it, And then if I wanted to, I could put a little scrap or a little swatch inside. If I really liked that linen, I would know where I got it from and which one it was if I want to ever reorder it. So that's my system. And then I have a shallow box that I keep my Ada in this one. So that's my linen library. I love my system. It's not glamorous. It doesn't take a lot of time. I can just slip it in and add it in pencil if I ever purchase more linen, which I did. And I will show you that now. So I did purchase 3 different linens. 2 of them are by Fabric Flair. This one is 18 count Victorian roses, and it's a very light bluish aqua, and it's got faint tree branches with flowers. I have an idea of what I want to use this for. And so, to be continued. And then the other Fabric Flair linen I got was 36 count even weave. This was a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be. I love the size of the checks. And I think what I'm going to do is give it a dunk in some coffee tea dye, just to kind of mellow it down a little bit. And then I also got from 1-2-3 Stitch a 40 count. Now, I have not stitched on 40 count yet, but I fell in love with this. Let's see, this is called Dusty Pink. And I don't know the maker of this, but it's not modeled or anything. It's just a really pretty pink color. So I plan to use that maybe with a monochromatic stitch. I've been keeping my eye on all of the market releases. I did do some pre-ordering, and I've been enjoying watching what you guys are liking. I ordered 2 of the new Brenda Gervais patterns, and there was an October House Fiber Arts one that I pre-ordered as well. But I think one other one that I really like was Luminous Fiber Arts came out with a new one that I just noticed this morning. And I think it would be really cute on this pink one. So what I usually do with my cross stitch charts, so I don't purchase so many at once, I'll go into Etsy and just favorite things, and I'll put them by designer, or if I just have like one board, I don't know what they call them in Etsy, one file or whatever, called cross stitch, and then I have some that are by my favorite designers that I just favorite them, and then when I'm ready to purchase more charts, I'll just go through those, like if I'm in the mood to stitch a patriotic and I know I don't have many patriotic, I'll go through and see what I've favorited, and then I'll purchase those. So that's my MO with charts. But I did have some new charts that I purchased and received, and this is by Brenda Gervais. It's called Be My Valentine. And she's got a few different projects in here. There's a little envelope, which is super cute. Oh, I think this is, yeah, that's the back, that's the front. And then the stitchy heart here. And then she decorates the box, and then also she makes a cover for her needle threader. So all the templates to do the box top, everything is in here, and this was a new to me pattern. I have not seen this, so I loved it. And I picked up for myself. I know my husband usually brings me roses on Valentine's Day, so I happened to be at the grocery store, and I purchased this for myself. The Whitman sampler. So this pattern calls for a 3-ounce box of to decorate, and so that's exactly what I got. And so the pieces that fit in here are very small. I can't wait to stitch those up. And so that is one of the patterns that I purchased. Another one is Tulip Festival with I Needle and Thread, Brenda Gervais. I'm going to stitch this with all the called for colors because my teal frost that this calls for is a really pretty shade. I love it. Now, Katie Strachan did announce that she's doing a silk conversion for this chart, and I have to admit I was so tempted, but she chose a slightly different color. You'll go and watch her Flosstube. I mean, it's gorgeous, the color she chose, but I think I'm going to pass on that silk conversion. I do have 2 other silk conversions that she's done. And when she announced that she's coming out with that, I thought, well, that's a possibility. But I decided, I came up and looked at my teal frost, and I really love that color, so I'm going to do it as called for with my cottons. And then lastly, I purchased Climbing the Trellis by Blackbird Designs, continuing to add to my Blackbird Designs collection. And on the back, she's got these separated out and 2 pin cushions. I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do those little pin pillows instead of framing it, because I'm saving the wall space. So anyway, I picked that up. And then I also picked up at Michael's, when I got that wooden box to finish my stitchy tray, I saw at their dollar spot they had these little plastic containers that are perfect for keeping the silk spools in when I'm working on a project. And this is called Simply Tidy crayon box. So I got a small one for, it comes completely unlidded. It doesn't, I thought it was one of these, but it actually comes off so that I can stick this in my stitchy box with all of the silks for the project that I'm working on. And just sit it right in here. Fits perfectly, and all my spools will stay without rolling all around. And I've got the larger one as well. So I thought, how fun. I think this one, it was at the dollar spot. I think this one was $1.50, and this one was $1. So, love them. And then the only other collection edition I have is for my magnifiers. Fat Quarter Shop notified me that the 5.0s from Riley Blake, Lori Holt's magnifiers came in stock. So I've had these 2, the 4s and the 3s, I think. Let me see. So this is the, I want to tell you right. This is the 3. So these are pink, and they come in here, and they're very cute. So I've got the 3s, and these are for my prim stitch that I'm doing. I'm using the 4s for Winter Rose Manor, and they come in the blues with the blue gingham. And these are the 4s. And I found out about these from Rachel at Needle and Flax on her Flosstube. And let me put these back in the right project before before my eyeballs go crazy. If I have the wrong size in the wrong bag, that wouldn't be good. And then these are the 5s, and these are so cute. These are in this yellow pouch, or wheat colored pouch, and these are the aqua colored 5s, and that's the little side. So it's fun to have these. They're super inexpensive. I want to say they're only $11. I don't know if I'll need the 5s, but I have them in case I do need them. And then let me just look at my notes and make sure that I have covered everything so far. I have. All right, so lastly, I have something old and something helpful. So I want to share with you first my something old. I picked this up. Now, when I was a kid, I think our bedroom, I shared a room with my sister, and this is an original Holly Hobby doll. Our room was Holly Hobby when we were growing up. We had matching curtains and bedspreads, I think. And so I picked this up. I think it was $16 at the antique store, and it's in really good shape. The only thing is that a little girl had fun cutting her hair. her little hair coming out of her bonnet. But this sits on a display that I have, a little vignette in here in my craft room. So that is something old that I'm enjoying, a little piece of my childhood that I picked up. And then I hope that this something helpful helps you. If you are a Qsnap user, I want to suggest that you can use your Qsnaps for more than just stitching. I know the Qsnaps come in certain sizes, and I started out by purchasing all the sizes that I thought I would use. Well, as my stitching journey evolved, I've noticed that I needed other sizes, or in my, because I keep my Qsnaps on my projects. I don't take them off and put them back on. I just keep them on. But what I do is I like to have my entire piece, if possible, seen on my Qsnap. So I bought an 11 by 17 extension kit, and then an extension, the little extensions for the Qsnaps. Let me see if I can find one. Yeah, here's a piece right here. You can see. So I purchased the little extras that you can fill in, and I create my own size. So this is the one that I use for my Prim Stitch series, because each block in this is 6 inches. And so when I work on one, you could tell I'm able to fit the entire block in one, because I'm currently using now I can keep the 8x8s or the 4x4s, whatever it is, for other projects. I just make my own size. Now I will say, when you use the extensions, they don't always add, you know, like fit together evenly, and that's okay. It works for me. If you want all of your sizes equal, you could tell like this is higher over here. But if you want all of your sizes equal, then you know, maybe just purchase a couple of the sizes that you use regularly. But the extension kits work for me to make the frame that I want. For instance, my Winter Rose Manor, let me take this off my frame so I can show you the back. I created a size for myself using the extension kit, and I do use the Qsnap brand. You can see here that it doesn't fit together 100%. In fact, I've got I've got the extension back to back here, and it's okay. This piece that goes over the fabric actually keeps everything in place. So I've created my own size square so that I can have the entire piece in my view. So I hope that helps you with the stitching. But also, I came up with the idea of using the Qsnap, especially the 11 by 17 for quilting. And I will show you how I plan to do that. When I was quilting this on my Viking machine that my mom gave me, it was sliding everywhere, so I only did a stitch in the ditch around the border because it started to slide, and I don't have any clips or anything to keep it taut so that when the needle is on it, it actually, you know, I can quilt it without it sliding. So what I did is I used my 11 by 17, and I keep this space without anything in it. What I do is I slide it under the Viking needle here, and I can use this with the, oh, I didn't bring them over, but you know, the clamps over the quilt, and I tried it out and it works great as far as keeping this taut. So, you know, you lay the quilt over just like you would your cross stitch fabric. You lay it over, and then you clamp it down so it's nice and tight, and then you fit it under the machine, and you just do your stitching in this space, and then move it so that you're, you know, until your entire piece is quilted. I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but I was so excited when I figured out that I could use this that way. Because honestly, very rarely do I use an 11 by 17 for my stitching. So now I'm using it for quilting. All right, I think that is everything that I had to share with you. Let's see, yeah, that was it. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope to be back in a few weeks when I have more to share with you. And I hope you all are having fun watching the new market releases, and I can't wait to see what you're stitching. So thanks everybody for joining me, and I'll see you soon. Bye.